Let's talk about time, distance, and space. Think about your plan. In the event that you are impacted by an active shooter threat, you want time to be your friend. If law enforcement is 6 minutes away, then you want a 6-minute plan in order to survive that attack. Your distance, any way that you can distance yourself by moving into a locked office, moving into a secured space, being able to put distance between yourself and the threat is advisable. Think about distance. Any way that you can bring yourself into a secured space, an office, a room, a closet, anywhere where you can provide enough distance between you and the threat. The space is also considerable. In the event that you may be mobilely challenged, don't think about running. Find a safe space to keep yourself secure until the authorities make their way onto your property. Pre-plan your escape routes. Wherever life takes you, to the movie theaters, to restaurants, or just simply your workplace. Think about the escape routes. Think about your exit plan. Try to avoid putting yourself in a place where you have no options. So again, think about all escape routes wherever life takes you. Let's provide the context of the workplace. In the event of an active shooter, and you have the opportunity to move yourself from the threat, what do you take with you? Well, the answer is simple. Do not take anything that's going to slow you down. How do you warn others? Most organizations have a mass notification system. There should be some means of communication outside of your workplace on a digital format to warn others, either through notifications on their desktop, on their text, either through notifications on their desktop, on their cell phones, or at least some way to warn others that there's an active threat happening on the property and to make the appropriate decisions to keep themselves safe. The response to law enforcement is critical. What is important for you to understand is that the single objective for law enforcement is to stop the threat. The single objective means moving away from those that may be injured to stop that threat from continuing to take lives. It's important for you to understand that when law enforcement arrives on your property, it may be a single officer. That single officer is going to work their way to find where that threat is. Now, in every active shooter case, there is more support coming in waves. That support comes in waves. But it's important for you to understand that the information that police officers are receiving, but it's also important for you to understand that officers in response are receiving information real time. They're trying to navigate the chaos within the workplace, and they're trying to navigate the information that may be coming to them through radio transmission. They're also there communicating with other officers in response in order to help stop the threat, and also to be able to bring the next wave of resources in that would include medical triage. It is this second wave, if you will, of officers with EMS or fire personnel that will bring the triage support and will start to look and assess the most serious injuries that have been as a result of the attack. The most serious injuries will be transported to local medical facilities, while other lower level injuries can be treated right there on property. Once law enforcement has neutralized the threat, there will be a radio transmission that another wave of officers will enter. In that second wave of officers, they'll be accompanied with first responders. The EMS or fire department members will provide that level of care that's needed for the wounded. A triage assessment will take place, and those victims will be taken to local area healthcare facilities, while less serious injuries will remain on property and be treated by the first responders. Understanding office space versus wide open spaces. Depending on your workplace, depending on if you are out on your own personal time at a concert, your options for hiding are different, and your options for running are different. For an office space, it's very important that you understand the floor plan. You may be in an open, exposed cubicle. Don't panic. As long as you are out of sight, you're actually out of mind of the attacker. So make yourself as small as you can. Find that space underneath your cubicle and just hold tight until law enforcement arrives on property. If you're able to secure yourself in a larger office space or in a closet area, secure that space by moving heavy furniture in front of the door. Your goal is to make sure that that suspect perceives you as a hard target. The mindset of a shooter is to move quickly and to create as much chaos as possible in a short amount of time. They understand that law enforcement is on the way. Whether there's suicidal ideation or not, they're not going to stop to try to move past the barriers that you've put in place. So again, very important for you to understand what your response options are. In wide open spaces, you may say, well, I don't have a place to hide. Well, actually, if you can find any type of support beams, trash receptacles, anything that you can hide behind to make yourself small, again, keep yourself out of sight, therefore you're out of mind of the shooter.